The life that I was living with drugs and alcohol, it always seemed I'd end up in jail. I could never get out of it. It was a revolving cycle.
I was drinking and driving on prescription medication. I woke up every day wondering where I was going to end up at that night.
I had a prior misdemeanor DUI. I had actually overdosed, and I was in the hospital for 20 days. They said I died on the table, and they had to bring me back. I still did not, I continued to use. I didn't stop. Then I got 2 felony DUIs back to back.
It was just my bad choices. I was just laying in bed smoking crack cocaine and waiting to die.
I, used every day. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a life.
I was completely hopeless. I was broke spiritually, physically, emotionally, and had nothing worth really living for.
I was facing 10 years in prison.
It was either choose life or death.
They offered me drug court, and I jumped on it immediately.
My attitude with drug court was to successfully complete it and then pick back up where I left off. Wasn't anything about quitting or turning my life around. It was just, going through the motions, and something changed. I made a decision to try a different lifestyle.
Drug court is a highly structured, highly supervised therapeutic treatment court designed to assist criminal offenders in achieving sobriety and stability in their lives. Over time, the criminal justice system recognized the disease aspect of addiction and wanted to implement ways to effectively treat that addiction in order to reduce reoffending.
These people are in our community, and they're going to be in our community whether or not we help them with their addiction or not. If they go to prison and they come back, they're still going to have an addiction problem, and they're still going to be here in the community.
What drug court does is creates productive, healthy community citizens, and that's going to save us money, and more importantly, it saves lives, and it heals families and brings people together to make a better community.
I think the biggest change these individuals get is an attempt at a clean, sober living environment, get off the drugs or alcohol. That's difficult.
I was just scared, fearful. I was still using, IV drugs, and I just didn't know what to do. Luckily I had a doctor who could help me get off the with medicine, and I started to do what they asked of me.
Sometimes you want to quit, but it's hard to unless you have the support.
It gives the people that want to change and to do something different the opportunity to change and do something different.
If you truly want to quit, then this is what will help you get focused and turn your life around to quit.
It's a team effort to get people from where they are in their addiction to getting them past it. Counselors, probation officers, the DA, the judge, the drug court coordinator, everybody has a hand in that, and there's tons of communication about what somebody is doing, what's going on, and what we need to be checking for.
Drug courts provide the community and offenders with a mechanism to treat addiction rather than simply incarcerate the offender, but to really treat the person and provide that person with long-term solutions to hopefully avoid the criminal justice system in the future.
Each client has their own individualized treatment plan, and the therapist works with the client, and so the client is part of doing the treatment plan.
The first weeks in drug court were very intimidating. There was a lot of obligations.
You have drug testing, you have a curfew, you have to call in, you have certain accountability that you have to face. You have to report to a parole officer. They can come to your house at any time.
The typical week for a drug court client depends on what phase they are in drug court. So they might be at NAIC 2 or 3 nights a week doing group therapy, case management services, and also individual therapy.
As we start them off highly structured, and then we phase them out so that they can be productive on their own. They've got court every week, They've got meetings they have to attend. They've got group counseling. They have individual therapy. They've got to meet with me. Plus we do home visits. And then as they progress, they get a job and their confidence goes up. And they think, okay, maybe I can do this. And then they start to get visits with their kids. And it's like, oh, hey, I can do this. Life is good sober.
In addition to their substance abuse treatment disorder, they may have a mood disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, any other kind of mental health disorder. And we do address the whole person.
You get to know them as people, good people who suffer from a disease. The thing I like the best is trying to come up with real solutions, peeling back the layers, so to speak, on our participants and empowering them to come up with long-term solutions to their diseases.
The reason it is so successful is because we are actually tackling the issues.
I see my clients weekly, and my part is just reporting to the drug court team what my clients are doing.
Everybody is reporting back to the same entity on saying, hey, this is what's going on. They showed up to group or they didn't show up to group and they appeared under the influence. We need to increase their drug testing, things like that. So you don't get that in standard probation. In standard probation, you get a probation officer and a counselor, maybe, but there's not as much interaction between the counselors and the probation officers.
The neatest thing about drug court and why they work so well is the immediacy of the sanction, the immediacy of the punishment for what they did wrong while they were in the program. They miss a call-in, they get to do 2 hours of community service. They miss a UA or get a hot UA, they're going to jail. We can also remove you from day-to-day life in the program and put you in inpatient, where they get some additional, more intense treatment.
Traditionally, a judge is tasked with making the final decision and is basing that decision on limited information. With the drug court team approach, I've got relevant, current, valuable information, so it helps me craft a decision which will helpfully give the best course for recovery. 35% of our incoming participants are unemployed. By the time they graduate, our numbers are down to 3% unemployment.
When they come to us with a job, it's not the best job in the world. So they move on, they get sober, they get a better job. Or they come to us and they haven't had a job in years sometimes. And so to see them get jobs, the confidence in them immediately changes. And it's like, they can do this. They believe they can do this because then they believe that they're productive members of society.
They start seeing that they can be clean and sober, and they can be a part of the community, and they can be with their families.
What our clients are doing is learning a new way of living. And first of all, they learn how to cope with life, with the stressors in life. They slowly learn how to have relationships with their family members.
I'd done this, made these bad choices for 35 years, and I wanted to give my children back their father.
I wanted my kids back because my mother had taken my kids away after my 3rd DUI.
Oftentimes we get participants who have involvement in the DHS system. Their kids are in DHS. Somebody in the family has guardianship of their kids. And if they get visits at all, they're supervised. By the end of the program, they may have them back full custody.
We see a shift in the way they look at life. It's like the light comes on in their eyes. They start building those relationships with their family again. Trust is being built. They start having goals for themselves.
When you're in drug court, you're on your last chance, and you're either going to be put in a cage, or you can successfully go through this program, and you know, if you'll allow it to, it can heal you.
When I see a participant finally get over that hurdle and truly recognize that drug court is there to help, it's the biggest thrill from my side of the bench to see that individual drop all the barriers and really start working on themselves and their recovery. Across the state, drug court graduates have a 23% recidivism rate versus a 54% rate for offenders released from prison.
We get to see lives transformed, and these are folks that would have gone to prison and spent years in prison for a nonviolent crime, and we get to see them recover from their addiction. We get to see them renew their relationships with their family members and become productive citizens of the community.
I was pregnant throughout the program, and it's definitely doable. I've seen many women who are expecting in the program.
Over 100 drug-free babies have been born in the program, and that's proof that we are reuniting families in drug court, and rather than tearing them apart through incarceration, we're bringing them together.
These people are going to be in our community, and we want them to be working and productive members of society versus somebody who's not working, who is a leech on our society and who's constantly involved in the criminal justice system, and they're in and out of jail, and they're racking up court costs and probation fees and all the stuff that they're not paying.
It costs the state approximately $19,000 a year to incarcerate an offender. Versus drug courts, it costs the state approximately $5,000 a year to treat that same offender. So in Cleveland County, we've graduated over 400 participants, and had those same participants not had drug court available, they would have been incarcerated for over 1,000 years. Our role is not only to do justice, but also to solve problems. And oftentimes the sensible resolution to these problems is how we do justice. Drug court is a manifestation of that reality. I truly believe that drug courts belong in every criminal justice system across the country. The evidence-based results and fiscal responsibility speaks for itself.
My favorite part of the drug court team is seeing my clients excel, seeing them graduate. They are awesome.
I learned a lot of great resources and tools to keep using, and I have a support system now that I didn't have before.
I'm absolutely not the same person. I've learned to be responsible and to take on daily average adult living, and that's something I'd never done before. But I keep a schedule, I keep a job, and I'm employable.
If this program wasn't here, there's a good chance I'd already be dead. To have people believe in you again, it's very positive. It's very rewarding.
I had a horrible drug addiction, and I didn't know how to live. And it's really given me an opportunity to change that about myself.
You shouldn't be punished for being an addict or alcoholic. You should be helped, given a second chance, and that's basically what drug court is. It's a second chance to change your life, and I know it definitely was for me.
And it gives you your self-worth back, and lets you dream again and set goals.
Drug court saves lives, and it heals families, and it saves the community and the state a lot of money. So depending on what you value, it's going to work in any case.